Hey guys, welcome back to Vince-Vell Customs. Today I'm sharing with you two Ryu Street Fighter kits that I'm working on. Basically the same kit, just one's going to be a white version, the other's going to be a black version. So basically, just going to do like a video of step-by-step of how this kit's all done. Basically what you see here is basically with pre-paint statues that you buy at a comic book store or a convention are casted up. Basically they cast up legs, arms, heads, and then what they do is they glue them together and then they paint them. So this is basically the similar process. Now, when you get a kit, you get excess stuff. So basically, as you can see in the arm here, this is excess stuff. So all this has got to be chopped off. All these little pieces here, all this stuff. And then if you get any kind of bubbles or imperfections, they all got to be patched up. So basically, what I'm going to do now is just start working on all this stuff, getting it patched up, fine-tuned, to get ready for paint. So it's kind of a boring process. It's nothing really exciting, so I won't film it. You just got to work on little by little, get it ready, and then once it's all ready for paint, just start painting it. So once I get up to that situation where it's ready to paint, we'll start the video again. Alright, so basically what I did was I primed up the Ryus with some Duplicolor filler primer and let it dry, and that helped me find a lot of errors. So basically what I did is I packed up a lot of bigger areas. So if you see little red dots around, that's some Avis that was patched into some excess of areas, you know, like bubbles underneath the feet and stuff. So basically, got all the big errors done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reprime again, start piecing together, and fine-tune them. Now, because Ryu's a fighter, you don't want to actually get rid of a lot of the texture, because texture actually helps him out. But at least you get rid of a lot of the you know, little line marks and all this stuff that's, you know, from the casting, and either it's from the sculpt or whatever. So you do smooth them out, but you can kind of keep some texture, you know, together. You don't have to go super crazy with areas like this, or here, here, or under in here, because that's all going to be covered by the cloth. And a lot of your pre-paint statues are basically this process. What they do is, you know, it's probably cleaner castings, but what they do is they cast them up, they sand them down, and basically they focus on the areas you're going to see with cloth, because if a lot of your pre-paints out there that have cloth on them, if you take off the cloth, you're going to find a lot of errors that they just skip. They don't even bother with. Sometimes they don't even paint some of those areas. But basically for Ryu, you know, he's a fighter, but we want to kind of keep him looking like a fighter, but not, you know, get rid of all the big errors and stuff. So now I'll prime them up again, I'll piece them together, and I start fine-tuning. Now because I have two Ryus and two different bases, I got to make sure the one Ryu that fits on this specific base, I keep them together, because sometimes, like even like pre-paints, if you take one statue that's pinned for a base and you put it into a different base for another statue, they don't line up. So got to make sure everything lines up. So I got to keep focused on, as I'm working, making sure everything lines up, and I keep going. So we'll be back after I start fine-tuning. Alright guys, so basically I'm attaching the head to the bodies, pretty much sanding them up, still some more fine tuning to go. So basically what I did was, I had a hole drilled here and here, and I put a rod in there with some Avis, and then what I did was, I attached the head with glue around the edge, put it on, and then I set it. So the Avis inside is actually still soft like this Avis, but what I'm doing is I'm closing up all the gaps. So as you can see on the red here, with all the Avis going around him, you can see I got rid of all the gaps and I'm patching them up. Because you don't want to actually just paint him with all these gaps on him and everything. And I actually drilled out a little extra area when I was fine sanding it and stuff, so you can see it's still a little wet from that stuff I sprayed. But so basically what I do is I got my safety solvent. Got my Avis, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up the gaps on here, and then after that I do the same thing with the arms, and then I do the thing with one leg, because you got to be able to put the clothes on. So I'm going to design it where one leg is attached, the other leg has to be glued in after you're done it, but all this seam here gets hidden from the clothes anyway, so you don't have to worry. So basically I'll start doing this one. Alright, so basically as you can see, I got both Ryu heads attached. So basically I let this sit for the night, and then tomorrow I can sand it and prime it and get all that cleaned up. And the reason why you do it this way is because you really want the head to be secured on, or you just don't want to glue it on and have the seam. And basically it just makes it more secure. Now this is pretty much the way all your pre-paint statues are assembled a lot in you know, from the company Sideshow, Bowen, and all that stuff. Some may not be as extreme seams as these, but like a lot of your heads are kind of glued on. The arms, like from a glove that's like, you know, cut right there. Basically they just paint them and they just glue them in, and that's it. But the way I'm doing this is I'm making sure it's very secure though with the pinning as well. You really want stuff to be pinned. You don't want to kind of not have it pinned, because you know you can kind of drop him, or if by accident you picked him up by the head and he's not really pinned and set in, you can pretty much pop it off and everything. So basically the next steps are getting everything attached, following these steps, getting him primed up and really clean, and then we can start painting. So basically we'll come back when he's pretty much all set up, ready to start painting. Alright guys, small update before we get to painting. Ran into some issues. The white Ryu jacket will go over both arms, so I had no problem with attaching arms, but the black Ryu, the jacket won't. So what I'm doing is I am avicing this, so then when I put it together, there's a little bit, not as much seam as possible. So it's pretty ugly at the moment, but I'm still working on it. And then what I did was I drilled under his foot there, and I drilled into the base in here, so this way when I'm done I can glue him in there, and then I can pin underneath, and I can throw some Avis in there so he really sticks to the base. So basically we're pretty much almost ready for paint. Just doing some more fine tuning. Just want to make sure that when he's done painting I can actually attach the arm and I can fill it up with as little minute of Avis as possible and hit it with paint, and he'll look good, because we don't want the seams to show. The only problem is there will be a seam here because it could just glue the leg, but you got to get the pant leg in, put the other leg in and glue it, because you can't get the pants in, but that's fine because this seam's hidden. But what I did was I put the leg here and I held it and I sanded it, so this way when it's glued there's a seam but it won't show through the fabric. Only if you pull down the pants you'll see it. So, but this over here is all closed up and everything, so it's pretty much secured now, and we're getting there. So hopefully the next time I get this video going, we're starting to paint work. Alright guys, so basically I patched up the Ryus. They're looking pretty good. I got everything set up. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to coat them all in flesh tone, and then I'm going to look to see if there's any more errors, just in case. Sometimes when I do flesh I do a nice coat, and sometimes I find some errors that I miss with the primers because the flesh tone gives a different color, it's lighter and all that stuff. So basically I'm going to just take my time. I'm going to do some flesh coating on all this, make sure everything's set up, and then we'll come back when I'm ready to start painting them all up. Alright guys, so basically primed them all up. Well, not primed them, but I got the base coat down of skin color. I fixed up a bunch of errors, so he's pretty much ready to go. This is going to be the white version Ryu. He's going to be lighter skin tone. So basically this is the base. Basically I'm going to go with some bronze, some you know, other colors, and just kind of mix it all up and keep going. And then once I'm done with him, since I'll have him the lighter color, I'll take the other Ryu, which is going to be the black version. Black meaning he's just going to have the black outfit on. He's going to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to do him first, and then I'll do the other. It's going to be kind of hard to do the video, the whole entire thing. I don't know if I'll have to shut off the video during the time because his leg's not attached and I got to kind of pick it up and move it back and forth. So we'll get the video going for how I started up, and then hopefully at the end we'll show everything together, how I put them together and everything. This is more of piecing them together than actually painting him. Alright guys, so basically now the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to have to seal these up. Basically the one on the left is the white Ryu, the one on the right is the black Ryu. He's just a tad darker. It's kind of hard to see, you know, with all these bright lights here. Maybe if I turn this off it might show a little better. So basically now I'm going to seal them up. I'm going to use Tester's Dull Coat. After Tester's Dull Coat I might use some Future 4 polish, but just mist it far away just to kind of give it a nice thicker coat protecting, and then maybe flat coat it again. I just want to make sure this is all sealed up and pretty well to go, because I'm going to have to handle a lot with putting the clothes on. So if I don't seal it correctly, I could probably scrape paint off or have issues, so I don't want to run into that. So, yeah, so I'm going to seal this up, and then we'll start working out details of the eyes, working out the gloves, and getting all that stuff done, and then hair, and then once we do all that, get the bases done and put them together. Alright guys, so basically I did the glove work, and I put the hair in, eyebrows, and the whites of the eyes. So next I got to do the eyeballs, and then I'm going to flat coat the gloves a little bit. They're a little bit shiny, but in the game they're kind of a little shiny. So you figure they're going to be like those leathery type plastic gloves for boxing, like the Street Fighter 4. That's what you're going for. So the black Ryu has the brown gloves, the white Ryu has the red gloves. So once I get those dulled down a little bit, and then I fix up the hair, make sure it's not too shiny, put a little bit of a brownish tints on some of the highlight areas just to kind of bring it in a little bit, and then got to do the bases. So what I'm thinking of doing is, since the white Ryu is pretty much all this, you don't want to do this in like granite, like in dirt, because then it'll start fighting with him and then everything else. So I'm going to do a little bit of like a granite, but dirt on the sides, like, you know, rocks type stuff. That's what it is. And then for the black Ryu, what I'm going to do is the same thing, but I'm going to add a little bit more dirt into it, so it's going to be a little bit of a darker base. Not much, but just a little bit. And of course the grasses are going to be green and all that. So that's the next steps. Once I get all that work done and everything, we can start putting them together.